Hi guys, this is your Watchman on the Wall, Minister Curtis Roach here. I just want to share this video with you concerning sounds from hell. Now, before you totally discard this story as being false or nonsense, just bear with me and just give it a listen. Watch the video to the end. After I'm going to just read you something here, and after I've read you this account of the sounds from hell, I'm going to also let you hear a radio interview of an unidentified caller who verifies this account. So just bear with me, as I said before, and just give this a listen to the end. So here goes. A geographical group who drilled a hole about 14.4 kilometers deep in the crust of the earth are saying that they heard human screams. Screams have been heard from the condemned souls from Earth's deepest hole. Terrified scientists are afraid they have let loose the evil powers of hell up to the Earth's surface. This is an account from the manager of the project, Dr. A. Zakov. The information we are gathering is so surprising that we are sincerely afraid of what we might find down there, stated Dr. A. Zakov, the manager of the project in remote Siberia. The second surprise is the high temperature they discovered in the Earth's center. The calculations indicate a given temperature was about 1100 degrees Celsius or over 2000 degrees Fahrenheit, the scientists have pointed out. This is far more than we expected. It seems almost like an inferno of fire is brutally going on in the center of the earth. The last discovery was nevertheless the most shocking to our ears. So much so that the scientists are afraid to continue the project. We tried to listen to the Earth's movement of certain intervals with super sensitive microphones, which were let down through the hole. What we heard turned those logical thinking scientists into a trembling ruins. The sound was sometimes weak, but the high-pitched sound which we are hearing, we thought was coming from our own equipment. But after we made some adjustments, we realized that indeed the sound came from the Earth's interior. We could hardly believe our own ears. We heard a human voice screaming in pain. Even though one voice was discernible, we could hear thousands, perhaps millions in the background of suffering souls screaming. After this terrifying discovery, about half of the scientists quit because of fear. Hopefully, that which is down there will stay there, the doctor added. What really unnerved the Soviets, apart from the voice recordings, was the appearance that same night of a fountainhead of luminous gas shooting up from the drill site. And out of the midst of this incandescent cloud pillar, a brilliant being with bat wings revealed itself with the words in Russian, "I have conquered," emblazoned against the dark Siberian sky. The incident was absolutely unreal. The Soviets cried out in terror, says Mr. Nominal. Later that night, he saw ambulance crews circulating in the community. A driver he knew told him that they had been told to sedate everybody with the medication known to erase short-term memory. The Soviets used this drug in the treatment of shock victims. As a communist, I don't believe in heaven or the Bible, but as a scientist, I now believe in hell, said Dr. A. Zakov. We know what we saw and we know what we heard, and we are absolutely convinced that we drilled through the gates of hell, Dr. A. Zakov continued. He said at one point the drill suddenly began to rotate wildly indicating that we have reached a large empty pocket or cavern. Temperature sensors show the dramatic increase in heat to 2000 degrees Fahrenheit. We lowered a microphone designed to detect the sounds of plate movements down the shaft. But instead of plate movements, we heard a human voice screaming in pain. At first, we thought the sound was coming from our own equipment, but when we made the adjustments, our worst suspicions were confirmed. The screams weren't those of a single human. They were the screams of millions of humans. Do you know why Jacques Cousteau, the famous underwater explorer, quit deep sea diving sometime before he died? It is said that he stopped because he had heard in one of the underwater caves he was exploring the sounds of people screaming. There was also another time when one of his men who was in a diving bell in the deepest trench of the Bermuda Triangle also had a similar experience. He signaled to be brought up immediately. After being revived from his shock, he told others of his frightening experience of hearing the screams of people in pain. And that is the account that I wanted you to hear. It's, you can discard this and say it's nonsense, but I would, encourage you to really take it at heart. It could be true. It could be very well real. And the enemy, he would not want you to believe that. So think about that. Now, listen to this confirmation of this interview, as I said earlier, of this unknown caller who actually have the actual recording. He got his hands on the actual recordings of what was recorded by Dr. Zakov in Siberia. Listen to this.
Now, I've got a clean copy of it now, and I warn you, this could scare you. Here's the email. Dear Art Bell, I just recently began listening to your radio show and could not believe it when you talked about the sounds from hell tonight. My uncle had told me this story a couple of years ago, and I didn't believe him. Like one of your listeners who discounted the story as nothing more than just a religious newspaper fabricated account. The story about the digging of the hole and the hearing of the sounds from hell is very real. It did occur in Siberia. My uncle collected videos and audio tapes and so forth on the paranormal, supernatural. He passed away fairly recently, but he would have loved your show. He let me listen to one of the audio tapes that he had on the sounds from hell in Siberia, and I copied it. He received his copy from a friend who worked at the BBC. It took me a while to find it tonight, but attached is that sound from my uncle's tapes. It's not the greatest quality, but the sounds are there. I was very hesitant to send you this, as the sound bothers me to listen to. I'd suggest that if you do play it on the program, warn listeners in advance so they may have the option of turning the radio off for 30 seconds while it plays. It has always haunted me. To those who discounted the Siberia sounds from hell story, it is true, and I, for one, wish it wasn't. Rick, listening from Chicago. And so I submit now the cleaned, a better copy to you, and I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
have it sounds from hell. Believe it or not, it's up to you. Jesus Christ, he is coming soon. Be ready for such a time. If you're not ready, you could be in the number of those screaming in hell.